Oh, hey folks! Are you enjoying Apocalypse Soon? Do you want to support the show and let us know that you care? Go over to patreon.com/Eddie Pepitone to support this podcast. $5 or $20 will get you some exclusive content. For our $20 subscribers, you get some apparel and some special shout-outs and whatnot. May 31st, get out to Chicago and watch Eddie record his 5th special. If you want to go and you're a Patreon supporter, we will give you a free ticket and a +1 for our second show. So check that out. Send an email to eddiepeppodcast@gmail.com and let us know you're coming. And now, let's get into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Apocalypse Soon. We got a puppy dog here. The fans are cooling us off. And he's here. The diamond-studded earring in his ear. The giggles keep on coming. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Eddie Pepitone.
Welcome, everybody, to Apocalypse Soon. And don't worry, that diamond-studded earring is not a real diamond. It is just a piece of glass that I found on the street, and I hammered into a piece of metal that I found on the street, and I made an earring, and it's giving me many infections. Many infections because it's not, once I hammered it into place in my ear, I didn't put any hydrogen peroxide or any disinfectant on it. I just put it in my ear and I said, "Someone fuck me." Hey, how you doing, Kev?
I'm
What's
doing
going on?
good.
I haven't seen you in a bit.
Oh, buddy,
We had a serious podcast the last time.
We did.
Well, wasn't that? I mean, I was just talking about, just all the shit that goes on. So we didn't do many sketches, and I didn't feel guilty about it. I thought it was a good talk. What about you?
No, I thought it's always great to get down to the nitty gritty of the individuals that we are, and people. They like us. And they like hearing about that extra stuff and what's going on in the head. It's not all goofballs and farts and hand buzzers around here.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of serious stuff and being liked and stuff, I watched a documentary on Kevin Spacey. Did you see it?
Yes.
So interesting,
Very interesting.
because the guy's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Straight from this doc, I mean, he didn't get convicted of his sexual abuse. It wasn't criminal, but man, these people who were interviewed, he really was a fucker, man.
Yeah, he fucked him up. Yeah, the emotional.
He fucked people up.
Yeah, it's wild
with sexual abuse. If you get a chance, it's called Spacey on Max.
Yeah.
And it's wild, and he had a fucking and of course, man, it's always from the family. Like his dad was like a Nazi lunatic who raped his brother. Yep. I don't know if anything, Spacey never talked about it. But he obviously came from a very fucked up family.
Super fucked up. And that's one of the reasons why, talking about your childhood trauma is valuable, is because if you don't let it out, that shit can get dark, and I imagine what he went through as a victim, as a child, with that unsatiated need to get it out and let people know and get some protection, manifested into this fucking monster.
Wow,
sociopath.
Anyway, that Spacey documentary, and what was really weird when he got canceled from House of Cards, and he was canceled in general, and you didn't hear from Spacey for a while, and then he did that wild video.
That Christmas video, yeah,
Christmas video as the character in House of Cards.
Yeah, creepy.
Addressing, like it was a combination of real life and fiction, addressing the allegations against him and everything.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. What a head trip that guy is.
Absolutely. Well, you highlighted something that was, because I brought up the fact that that there was two Marines that he had abused, two ex-Marines. These are tough.
Oh, that's right,
guys, and that highlights the abuse of power so much.
Well, these guys wanted to be actors. These Marines. And by the way, if you're a Marine and you want to be an actor, just do it. I mean, you could use your experience storming beachheads or whatever Marines. I'm not sure what Marines are doing these days. What?
A lot of marching.
Marching?
Yeah, they're great marchers, solid marchers. But yeah, it highlights the abuse of power because it's like when it's a girl, the physicality of it is so obvious. But when it's this big Marine, this tough guy.
It was interesting to hear those. You'll see it. It was interesting.
Because when it's a girl, people can say, well, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave this thing? When it's a guy who can handle himself physically and you go, why didn't you leave? And you go, well, I was afraid. It's like, it really highlights how potent
people
the power stuff is.
The power thing. And also if someone immediately grabs your genitals and these Marines were talking about feeling shame.
Yes.
And this guy, they were great guy. That one guy was really great. And he was just talking about how your first thought isn't violence.
Yeah.
Your first thing is you feel ashamed. And it was wild. But I think this is a good point for a guided meditation, maybe.
Absolutely.
To get us all through this type of stuff.
Yeah. We go.
Anyway, watch Spacey. See what a scumbag this prick was.
Yeah. Great endorsement. That should be in the TV guide. All right. And now, as the breeze blows through the tree, and the documentaries about power abuse go on in the background, it's time for another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Okay, everybody. Let's really try to feel our breath in our sacrum. Now, I don't know where our sacrum is, but I've heard it's in a very spiritual spot. So Google sacrum while I'm sitting here. Also get on extremely light-fitting clothing, stuff that billows in the wind, like if you've ever seen a perfume ad or someone running on a beach in regular clothes, things are always billowing. If you can get things that billow, that's half the battle of meditation, is wearing things that billow. So, all right, let's come from our sacrum. Hopefully you've Googled sacrum. And I want everyone to see a glass half full. And let's just say it's an orange liquid. Let's say that orange liquid is not in any way related to Agent Orange. It's an orange viscous liquid. And you're sitting there, just see the orange liquid and watch the orange liquid come from that half-full glass into your mouth and down your gullet. We're going to leave that in. We're going to leave this sneeze in. Sneezing is a good way to get out a sneeze. People who hold in sneezes are often injured. Some of them are taken into custody because they're just too weird. They're going, and some of them are arrested. So just let your sneeze come out. Billowing clothing, and an orange liquid now is floating. It's floating. You're floating in the orange liquid. It's come into your body, down your gullet, into your sacrum, whatever that is. And now you're floating in this beautiful orange liquid, and you're floating. Now, orange is also the color of what prisoners wear when they're doing community service on the side of the road. And some of the people doing community service have murdered people. Some of them have just sold a little marijuana. Some of them have carjacked cars. Some of them have done home invasions. Some of them mail fraud. Some of them wired fraud. They all wear these orange vests. So don't think about them. I mean, some of those people have, taken advantage of people like Kevin Spacey. Even though Spacey was acquitted. But don't think of any of that. Just see an orange liquid that you're floating in. And you're just floating in the sky. And in the sky with you are airplanes and drones that bring death. Drones that bring death, which, by the way, is a terrific new game show on Fox, hosted by John Mulaney. Okay, now I want you're floating in the air, you're with drones, you're with airplanes, you're with birds, beautiful hawks. My spirit animal, by the way, is a woodchuck, a disabled woodchuck, a woodchuck who was beaten, a woodchuck who was beaten by his father, just an abusive daddy. And that's my spirit animal, a woodchuck who's very nervous about being himself. Your spirit animal should be a beautiful hawk that soars above it all. And I don't even think I've gotten to the first in-breath yet, but with your first in-breath, I want you to breathe in all that I've just said. All of it. Take it all in. The wire fraud, the mail fraud, Kevin Spacey, drones that bring death, beautiful soaring hawks, billowing clothing. Breathe that in. And now with your first out breath, I want you to breathe out everything that has made you give people the finger. Like, I want you to breathe out, I want you to breathe out all the bills that never stop coming and all the junk email from politicians who keep asking for money. They keep asking for money, every email, and you're just trying to find an email that is from a person who loves you. And you can't because Joe Biden keeps asking you for money, and you write back to them saying, Biden is responsible for genocide. Don't ever contact me again. Yet they keep contacting you, and you just want to, anyway, breathe all of that crap out. Breathe out the fact that you were pinned down by a bully in high school, and he pinned you down, and he kept repeating over and over to you, I am gonna murder you. And that was a good day. Breathe all of that out. And with your final in-breath, I want you to breathe in the fact that your surgery on your jaw that you've needed for many years is finally going to be paid for by the government. Your jaw surgery is going to, you've had that jaw thing where it doesn't line up. I forget what that's called. Do you remember? TMJ. Not TMZ, that horrible, horrible celebrity bullshit website that keeps people distracted from the fact that they're getting raped by the 1% or the top 1.01 of 1%. It's a lot of math, but just a few people own everything in this country, and the wealth has gotten more and more polarized. I don't know. Just the TMJ thing will now It'll be paid for. I lose my place some of these. I go on little political diatribes, and I forget where I was. But I want you with your final in-breath, and I mean final. When I say final, don't breathe anymore after this, because breathing is highly overrated. Breathing is something we do naturally. I don't think you need to be told to breathe by people like me in light-fitting, billowing clothing. And people who go into yoga studios, by the way, if yoga studios worked, how come I sense great sorrow in every yoga studio I've ever entered, particularly from the people at reception in a yoga studio? There's always a sorrowful vibe. Like they're like, "Hi." You ever go to a yoga studio and they're like, "Hi, did you sign up for the 3 o'clock?" And you're like, "Yes." And they're like, "Oh, let's see." And you just sense that they want and should be somewhere else. And they're very, very depressed people. They go through their yoga, the list of people who've signed up, and they're like, "I don't see you on the list." And you're like, "Look, you, my friend, are a lost soul in a yoga studio. I usually am kayaking with nature. Kayaking or eating and watching hockey on a pill. You're the one who needs help."
Thanks for joining us on another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Oh my God! I think we should go right into that. Was beautiful.
Yes,
and I hope it helped a lot of people.
I think it will.
But I think we should go into an Allen Mezquida.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And now, checking in with Al and Margaret, the couple living inside Eddie Pepitone's head.
Catch the ball! Catch the ball! Catch the ball! Margaret, I can't catch the ball if you don't throw it. Catch the ball! Margaret, are you stuck in some kind of thing like when a vinyl record, which some people get vinyl records. Ow, why are you always going on about vinyl records? I'm trying to use vinyl records as a metaphor, Margaret. Al, you're trying to say I'm stuck in a groove? Catch the ball, catch the ball, catch the ball. Yes, it's like there's a scratch on the record. Al, people just download things now. I know, Margaret, but there is a great demand for vinyl now. Al, you know people get retro just as a way to... I'm looking for the dog. What dog, Margaret? Eddie's dog. Eddie's... What, Margaret? It's just me and you here. Come on, Al. You know that we're not alone. All right. You're confusing me. I want to talk about the fact that vinyl records are... Al, can we just stop about vinyl records and catch the ball, catch the ball? I think that would make a great ringtone, don't you? Like, my phone rings and people just hear, I just hear, catch the ball, catch the ball. Margaret, I'm starting to worry about you. I really am. Oh, Al. Why? I just feel like you're off and you need some kind of medication. Al, you know that all I've been doing that has made me a little off is I'm drinking just a little Pine Sol every night. Margaret, I don't understand why you're drinking a furniture polish. I just like the name, Al. Pine Sol. But it's toxic, Margaret. Al, look at all the toxicity around us, okay? You're a cauldron of toxicity. Oh, and now you're making this personal? You making this personal? Yes, I'm making this personal. You know, you give me grief for drinking Pine Sol. Well, don't you think it's in your interest not to drink Pine Sol? Can we talk about something else for a second? All right. Let's talk about the fact that you've been pulling buttons off of my shirts and sauteing them with fish. Like whatever fish we have, you've been taking buttons off my shirt. Oh, God, Al, do you notice that Eddie is just like getting more and more nonsensical with us? What are you talking about? All right, I guess we are Eddie. We are Eddie. We are all Charlie Hebdo. That was an attack long ago in France. Yes. Why did you bring that? I don't know. This is Eddie talk. Margaret, we are fighting for our lives in this man's mind. Al, this man has created us, and we can't let him go into insanity. Al, if he's just going to do bits where I'm sauteing buttons in with fish and drinking Pine Sol, maybe it's best that he gets committed and that we take a break from this whole fictional life. Why, are you exhausted from this fictional life? I am, actually. My sacrum is feeling a little... Oh, Margaret, you're just doing a callback to that last bit. Oh, Al, maybe we should make love. All right, but move all these Pine Sol cans out of the way.
Oh, boy. Thanks for joining us on another Checking In with Al and Margaret, the couple living inside Eddie Pepitone's head.
Well, that felt good to just see those guys again. How about we do a praying for celebrities?
I love it. I love it.
Do it.
And now it's time for Praying for Celebrities with Eddie Pepitone.
Okay, Dad, I'm getting sleepy.
I noticed you've been rubbing your eyes a lot lately.
Well, that's because of all the paint. You keep painting the windows black, and that paint makes my eye... Why are you painting the windows black, by the way?
Well, I noticed that the most effective sleep schedule is actually a 25-hour day. And so we have to offset it a little bit. Every time, you go to bed, we black out the windows, and that just helps you to get the best 8 hours you can possibly get, little guy.
At this point, little Eddie lunged at the man who was keeping him in this cabin with a knife. The knife was parried by his captor, and now we join them again in progress. Sorry. Son. Yes, sorry, Dad. I just wanted to kill you because I don't think you're my real father, and you're painting windows black, and you have ass injector written on the cabin, and I haven't seen friends, but I would like to pray for celebrities now.
Well, as long as you got that out of your system, little guy.
I'm sorry that I lunged at you with the makeshift knife.
Where did you make a shiv from? Where did you get that from?
Well, I've had a lot of time in this. I've been here now a few years, Dad.
Well, I had no idea. I thought you were back here reading and doing your chores.
Not all the time. I mean, sometimes I make things to hurt you.
Well, you got to stop that, son. I love you. I'm here. I just want to have a lot of time with
sorry.
you.
Can we pray for some wealthy people?
That's right. You got to get your 8 hours. So let's go ahead.
Okay.
All right. Go right ahead, son.
Oh, Lord, can you look down on Oprah? I don't know what's going on with her. I know her weight goes up and down, but she's still worth like $1 billion. And I just feel like all that wealth on people who have that much money is a burden, and they don't know where to invest it. They feel like, well, if I have this much money, I should be happy, but Oprah's weight keeps going up and down, up and down, up and down. So, God, please look after Oprah, and God, please look after Richard Branson, the billionaire, one of the billionaires who went into space. I haven't heard much about what's going on with Mr. Branson, and I'm just hoping that all his investments, and I think he sold Virgin Atlantic, and I used to like Virgin Atlantic when I had my freedom and wasn't locked in this cabinet in the woods. No offense, Dad.
Oh, that's fine. I get it.
look down on Mr. Richard Branson. I don't think he owns Virgin Atlantic anymore. And I think the biggest trouble with these billionaires, God, is that they have a lot of free time, and sometimes it's hard to enjoy your free time if that's all you have. Like the idle hands are the work of the devil.
That's right.
Yeah. So please give Richard Branson things to do. And God, please look down on Sean Penn, who's rich. Sean Penn keeps saying that the military is the ones that should help with hurricanes. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just wanted to mention Sean Penn, and he seems like a narcissistic fuckwad. God. So please, again, people with money, with lots of money, sometimes their wealth, their outer wealth, doesn't equate to inner strength. And that brings me to Ellen DeGeneres, God. Ellen's off the air now. Isn't that right, Dad?
That's right.
Ellen's off the air now, and I often wonder, what is she doing? She can't walk. She can't be just walking around being happy. I know. She's got to feel like garbage because she's not on the air anymore, and she's got a horrible reputation as a scumbag to her writers. Anyway, please look down on all these very wealthy people who've got incredible problems. Most children pray for poor people and people who are hurt, but people with money hurt just like the rest of us. Thanks, Dad.
And amen.
Man.
And thanks for joining us on another Praying for Celebrities.
That felt good.
That was nice. That reminded me of being in prayer circles back at church when, honestly, we'd all be holding hands or whatever, and somebody would go, and we want to pray for Martha, who's been just having so much trouble with her arm lately, and then people around would go, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yeah, Martha's arm. Just the constant.
Lord, I think what Martha needs is a physical therapist, Lord.
Yes, God. Yes.
Please let Martha Google a physical therapist and go to one, hopefully with some money. We don't have any for Martha, but...
No, man.
No,
Amen.
no.
Amen.
No. You want to do a driving in the rain?
Yeah, I'm down to do a driving. You know what I was thinking?
What were you thinking?
We haven't done a Last Newscaster in a while.
Oh, let's do that one.
I like that one. Plus, it'll be a nice breakup too. And now, just breaking in, it's the Last Newscaster, Eddie Pepitone.
Good evening, and I am fucking insane. I am the very last newscaster on this planet. The nuclear cloud that hangs over us is now being accentuated by the fact that there is absolutely nowhere to go. Now let's go to me for sports. Thank you. Our sports tonight, again, everybody is dead except me. I am the last newscaster on earth trying to stay sane, but I'm fucking insane. That's right. I'm fucking someone named insane. I'm fucking insane. He's kept in a box and I fuck him. I bring him out like the gimp in a Tarantino film. I'm fucking insane. Don't you forget it. Anyway, sports is not happening today. Unless, of course, you call masturbating a sport. Then I won. I've used that joke before, folks. But since everyone's dead, who gives a fuck? I have a camera and a microphone, and I'm pretending that I'm being broadcast live. There's nuclear I don't know how I'm alive. I'm the only one left. Well, I guess it's good living.
Thanks for joining us on another Last Newscaster on Earth.
Short and sweet, but
Yeah, it's good.
I think he made us.
It's good. The only other request that we've had was for a manufactured rant. And I thought as you were doing that, I was like, because somebody had mentioned all your amazing, insane rants on WTF. And they're like, we haven't seen an insane rant maybe that's something you can put in the hopper for next time.
Well, we can do one now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't I just rant about coffee shops?
All right. And now an uninterrupted rant by Eddie Pepitone about coffee shops.
Yeah. And hi, folks. I want to rant about coffee shops because, first of all, it's gotten ridiculous with how bad the quality can be depending. Like, I am so over the linear fucking I can't deal with Starbucks. And the coffee, sometimes it's okay. But the hipster coffee shops are so overpriced. They're so overpriced. And there's a vibe in these coffee shops where I can't be myself. Like, there's a vibe. Yeah, there's a vibe. Like, people are very self-conscious in these hipster coffee shops. It's like, and I don't know if you have one of these in your area, but like there's books around, or there's like games, puzzles, like there's little, like, oh, look, there's a puzzle here on the shelf that I could do. You ever get in a fucking hipster coffee shop and you're like doing a puzzle of, let's say it's Monet's water lilies, and you're drinking an $8 cup of micro brewed coffee where it's made. Have you ever seen the coffee shops where they have puzzles? And lately, another thing is cats. There's cats in coffee shops. And I'll tell you something. I have a cat. I fucking love cats. But I'm there for the coffee. Coffee is what I want. And I feel like, they're charging like $9 for a cup of micro brewed coffee and a puzzle. Monet's water lilies, by the way, is almost impossible to do because, again, it's a very subtle painting. It's not like you're doing, the face of Bob Eubanks, who used to host the Newlywed Game. That's too old a reference. Who's a host of a game show now? Drew Carey, not Family Feud. He's Price is Right.
Oh, Price is Right.
Who's Family Feud? Steve Harvey?
Yeah, I think it's Steve Harvey.
Right. If I were doing a puzzle of Steve Harvey, I'd kill myself. You don't want to do a puzzle of Steve Harvey. You don't want to recreate Steve Harvey's face in front of you because Steve Harvey is not very funny, and there's no reason to. And Family Feud is just the biggest shit garbage show there is. And don't think I forgot about the subject of this rant. It's about fucking coffee shops. They're little, it's like they started out as these havens where we could go for good coffee relatively cheap, and the prices have kept going up, and the clientele gets weirder and weirder. Like everybody in the coffee shop I go to is like developing some kind of artistic project. I like the coffee shops where it's people who live and work at the docks or in manufacturing companies. Like these people, they can barely grip their coffee because they've been unloading ships all day, and the things they've been unloading are like wild animals from China, and they get bitten, or electronics that have been turned on and their hands are fried, and they come into a coffee shop and they're like, let me get a cup of Joe. Let me get a cup of Joe. I only have so much time on the earth.
and they drink it. It's like 50 cents. That's a down-to-earth coffee shop where you go in, you know life is brutish and cruel and short, and that the coffee is horrible, and it's 50 cents. Not these hipster coffee shops where, they put the flour on top of, when they make a foam flour, like there's a flour in your foam. Could you imagine one of those guys who's got burnt hands or hands bitten from a coyote that's come over from China, and he's like, this foam is beautiful. I love a good flour. I love a good flour foam. What do I owe you, Hal? Yeah, and guys like Hal are serving it, and Hal is on parole. Like Hal has the job in the coffee shop because it's the only job he could get, and Hal is on parole, and Hal can only be nice to people because if he makes one wrong move, he'll be reported, and he goes back in the hooskow.
And thanks for joining us on another uninterrupted rant about coffee shops.
That was really, really very off the top of my head and little discombobulated. But let's end up, I think. Well, we still have 8 minutes or so.
You want to do the driving in the rain?
Yeah.
All right. I love driving in the rain because when I edit it, the music and it just feels right.
It's a nice one for you.
Yeah.
You get to play with it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a very enjoyable. And now, driving in the rain with Eddie Pepitone.
It was a cold Los Angeles evening. I had to make a delivery of a bean burrito to Death Valley, the guy who runs Death Valley. That's right. The mayor of Death Valley, Tom Rizzo, ordered a bean burrito, and I was coming from the heart of Los Angeles, and it's a 4-hour drive to Death Valley. And the one thing about Tom Rizzo, the mayor of the Death Valley, is that he wanted that burrito hot, so I had it in the hot wrapper that I have, and the rain started coming down, and I'm cruising toward Death Valley with the rain slashing me like someone who's slashing tires. The rain was like a tire slasher. You ever have your tires slashed by a lunatic? That's how this rain was slashing me. It was like a vengeance thing. Every time I've had my tires slashed, it was always by somebody that I keyed their car, and they found out, and so they slashed it's quid pro quo. Anyway, this rain was coming down like a warden coming down on 2 prisoners who escaped, and they were caught in the tunnel like Andy Dufresne. That's how hard the warden came. The rain was coming down like a vicious warden, the way he would take these 2 escaped prisoners and just electrify, like he would stick electrodes on their genitals and say, "Now sing, raindrops are falling on my head." If you've ever seen prisoners sing "Raindrops Falling on My Head" with electrodes attached to their genitals, this rain was coming down like tears out of Vincent van Gogh's eyes. That's right, Vinnie Van Gogh, the guy who cut off his ear and mailed it to a chick. And I'll tell you something. If you're going to mail an ear to a chick, do not put return postage, because you could get in trouble, because apparently mailing a body part, from what I understand, is illegal, even if it's just an earlobe. And Vinnie Van Gogh, he never recovered from a love affair with a hooker. Sure, I've fallen in love with hookers, but I had to get this burrito to Death Valley. And this rain was coming down. It was coming down like you would come down with the cold. You know how you come down with the cold? Like all of a sudden you're stuffed up, you got a headache, and you got a big day ahead of you, and you know you are fucked. That's how this rain was coming down, like a big fucking cold. And there was no daytime NyQuil. There was no daytime NyQuil. There was no nighttime NyQuil. They only were selling twilight NyQuil. NyQuil for the twilight hours. And it's hard to get because daytime and nighttime NyQuil are the ones that sell. Twilight NyQuil is for serial killers. Anyway, this rain was coming down like a bad cold, and the only NyQuil available was Twilight NyQuil. And I'm driving. I was 3 hours into the drive, and I touched a burrito, and it was ice cold. And this guy, Tom Rizzo in Death Valley, he didn't care that the rain was coming down like some kind of bill collector. You ever have a bill collector call you over and over and over and over again, and you finally pick up the phone, and it's your mother prank phone calling you, pretending to be from a bank, and you're like, Mom, you had me worried. And she's like, oh, I just get my kicks pretending to be JP Morgan Chase. And you're like, I gotta push her down the steps one day. I finally got into Death Valley, and the rain came down even harder. It was a rain that was more punishing than a bad relationship. You ever been in a bad relationship and you live with the person and it's just a punishing fucking thing? Every time you walk in the house, it's like, what? Where were you? What did you do? That rain was coming down like that. And I saw Rizzo stepping to the front of his house, and he waved me down, and I was like, wait, I have to sneeze, I said. Then he said, did you just sneeze on my burrito? And I said, I did. Here it is. And I tossed it out into the rain, and it fell. And Rizzo took out an automatic weapon, and he started peppering my car with bullets. Luckily, they missed me, but they were peppering my car. But I didn't care because I had insurance. I kept sneezing on the other food, on my other deliveries. And I had a cold, but I had to make a living because I was part of the gig economy.
Well, thanks for joining us on another Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone. That was good. There's a lot of analogies about that rain.
There really was.
It was a plethora.
Well, that's the joy of driving in the rain is
Yeah.
that you get a lot of, analogies,
Yeah. I feel like this podcast is going to be beneficial to your mental health in the long run.
In the long run?
Oh, yeah.
In the short run, no.
Well, the short run, it's rough, but the
It
long
is
run,
rough.
I feel like you're going to sit down with somebody and go, your brain activity is just off the charts. Have you been doing a lot of improvising? And you'll be like, I have.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, we're seeing it on the MRI.
And as you get older, they say you have to keep your brain active,
yes.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or else you could fall victim to Alzheimer's,
Absolutely.
dementia, right?
Have you ever seen that Alzheimer's documentary about called Alive Inside?
No, but I have seen the Kevin Spacey one. What a prick.
It's
Is it a good one? Alive Inside?
It is amazing.
What's it about?
There are people who are fully catatonic. With Alzheimer's, and there's people that haven't talked in a while, and they figured out that if you play music that was a favorite song of theirs from their history, they literally come to life and will start singing and will start having conversations with people, and then they will slowly fade back. But the power of this music is wild.
Wow. That would be funny that the only way you get a guy named Frank to be coherent is you constantly have to play Baby's Got Back.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
really loud
Yes. Yeah.
by Cardi B. Is it Cardi B?
No, it's Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Sir Mix-a-Lot. And by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
I want to say this to Sir Mix-a-Lot. Where the hell is your next hit?
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I don't even know Sir
Yeah,
Mix-a-Lot.
he did put him on the glass right after, but that was it. You remember Put Him on the Glass?
No.
Because I was a teenager. I was a horny Christian teenager at the time. And so
Hello, welcome to Horny Christian Teenager. At the time.
there was a station where you would call in, and for I think $1 you could request a video, and people would request Baby Got Back and Put Him on the Glass all the time, which was a very salacious video with a lot of ladies putting it on the glass.
Whoa.
Oh,
So
yeah.
as a horny Christian teen.
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
I like the tune. I just like the tune. It's great for dancing.
That's great for them.
But yeah, I think we did it.
All right.
We did another full
Well, let's
episode.
tell the people what they can do. Go
Folks.
fuck yourself.
The bare minimum you could do is send us an email to eddypeppodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you're doing, how you're enjoying the podcast. If you got any rants for the man, let us know. Go over to eddypepitone.com if you want to see him live. He's got all his tour dates on there. And May 31st, Chicago. Come on out. If you're a Patreon person, second show you get in for free, plus one ticket. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, I mean, the tickets are, there's still a couple left, so go and check that out. And let us know. Let us know you're coming out. And go to YouTube and subscribe over there, the Apocalypse Soon podcast on YouTube. We get you clips. We get you all kinds of good stuff. And, $20 Patreon subscribers also get some exclusive stand-up clips from Eddie himself. I'm sure you guys have heard this 1,000 times, but go check it out, please.
And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening, or both, to another episode of Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside.